I got to do something here. I've never shown Warren Moon this. And before I bring Warren Moon on, I showed you guys this yesterday. And I got to show Warren this. So let's bring Warren Moon in now. Warren, I got to show you this. I think you're going to like this. Hey, I can't hear you, Warren.
Can you hear me?
Yep, got you now. Warren, I want to show you something. So this is my time. Here is a 1-year contract for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Wait a minute. I got another one for you. My second year with the Roughriders. I got a 2-year contract. By the way, I realize the money's $55,000 of Canadian money. I kind of extrapolated that out. Not a lot of dough. Warren, I got offered a contract with the Toronto Argonauts right here. And I played in Canada for the Las Vegas Posse when they had that American experience. Did you enjoy your experience playing in Canada?
Danny, I really did, just because it gave me a chance to play football and continue to keep playing. After I finished my career at the University of Washington, I didn't want to go somewhere where I had to maybe change positions and get drafted and have to play wide receiver or play defensive back, which is what most teams were telling me. I still wanted to be able to play quarterback. I wanted to be able to keep developing my game. And I was able to do that in an organization that really believed in me, in the Edmonton Eskimos. And we were a winning organization. We won 5 straight championships. So when you're winning like that, it makes everything so much sweeter, other than the fact that I wasn't playing in my own country and playing in a league that I wanted to play for. I was playing winning football and getting better and being paid very well. So I was pretty content there for the most part of my career. But then it got to a point where I had accomplished so much up there so early, I still had that itch inside of me to see if I was good enough to play in the NFL.
The reason I started there, Warren, is because how much do you think that journey played in your drive and desire once you got to the NFL? Because we talk about that journey with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, where Jalen was not considered elite. He had his job taken from him. He told he couldn't play in Alabama, had to transfer, was drafted as a seatbelt for Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. And it just seemingly has propelled this guy. In his journey, he talks about it, how important it was in his drive to get where he is right now. For you, was that the same for you, that all those experiences played into why you had a Hall of Fame career in the NFL?
Yeah, no question about it. And everybody has their own journey that they go through, and they go through their own adversity, and they come out of it hopefully with great resiliency. And I was able to do that just like Jalen's been able to do it. But the difference is he got drafted in the NFL as a second rounder. So it wasn't like he was overlooked and wasn't considered to be a quarterback. I wasn't drafted. I wasn't probably going to be a quarterback if I came into the National Football League. So my journey was a little bit different. It took me to another country where I had to play in order to play that position. And then I came back and did the things I was able to do. So everybody's journey is a little bit different. Everybody's is a little bit difficult. But it's how you handle that difficulty. It's how you handle that adversity. And Jalen did a great job of handling his. He handled it with a lot of class. And look where he ended up in the Super Bowl last year.
Before we get to the Seahawks, I want to ask you one last question on Hurts. Have you been surprised with how fast that he's evolved and he's continuing to evolve? Because, Warren, that position you play, the quarterback position in the NFL, is by far the most difficult position to play. In college, they tell you where to throw the ball. In the NFL, you have to know where to throw the ball. There's a complete different mindset. Have you been surprised?
I really haven't. One, because you could see the abilities that he had when he was at Alabama. And then when he went to a more passing conscious offense in Oklahoma, he got much better coaching there and he improved more as a passer. And then he came into the National Football League and continued to improve. And it's not that he doesn't have the skills. We all saw that. but he has the great work ethic, and that was one of the things that impressed me from everything I heard about him is how much he worked and how hard he worked from every day during the season, during the off season. When the season ended, he was right back in there again the next day trying to get better. So if you have a guy that has that type of work ethic to go along with the skill set that he has, it's just a matter of time before everything hits home and he becomes the player everybody thinks he can be.
Let's talk a little Seahawks here. Warren, let's talk about surprise here. Have you been surprised on post Russell Wilson on how well John Schneider and Pete Carroll? Maybe it's a loaded question because those are two exceptional people. Schneider's probably a Hall of Fame candidate for an executive, and Pete's a Hall of Fame candidate for coach. But have you been somewhat surprised? Because usually after a franchise quarterback leaves, there's always a downtime. Warren, I thought they were going to be the worst team in the NFL last year. And now they're talking about them this year being one of the better teams in the NFC.
It doesn't surprise me, Danny, because I was there when John Snyder and Pete Carroll came in. I was doing their broadcast when Mike Holmgren was there and went right into their tenure. And, of course, we know what they did early in their tenure, going to 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. They had a great young quarterback in Russell Wilson. I was there when he came in as a rookie. And I watched how they put that team together. And a lot of it was not with high-round draft picks. A lot of it was with guys like Richard Sherman, who I think was a 5th or 6th round draft pick, or Cam Chancellor, who was a 6th round draft pick. And I can go on and on with the guys that were not high-round draft picks that they put together on that football team. And I just knew they could do it again if you had a guy at the trigger position at the quarterback that could play decent football. And that's what happened with Geno Smith. He came in and really played some phenomenal football last year for the Seahawks. And that's what it's going to take for any team to be successful in this league. You're going to put the pieces around him, but can the quarterback be the guy to make everything happen and be the glue? And that's what Geno Smith was last year for the Seahawks. He played good enough football for them to be even better in the playoffs. If they had a better defense, they might have went even further. So I think that's where they put a lot of their focus this offseason in the additions that they made. They wanted to improve that defense. They're bringing back Bobby Wagner, a guy who's been, he's the all-time leading tackler with this football team, an all-pro every year. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Bringing him back was huge. Jaron Reed, who was part of their success a few years ago, they're bringing him back. So they're bringing back a lot of the pieces that know the defense that they like to play there in Seattle, and I think they're going to be much better on that side of the football.
So there's more talent, you think, right now especially on the defensive side, because as you said, that was kind of like the kryptonite for that team a year ago. They were able to score points and put a lot of offense on the board and knock some light bulbs off those scoreboards, but they also did it on the other side defensively. So you think there's more talent?
I do, and you look at the players, the young guys that they drafted last year. I think 5 different rookies started last year. They're only going to be that much better this year because they have a whole season under their belt. They're going to have a whole nother off season and training camp to get ready for this season. So these players are going to be that much better as well on a team that was a very decent football team last year that went to the playoffs.
Is there any interest in Seattle with DeAndre Hopkins being on the other side, in your opinion, of DK Metcalf? Could you see them at least kicking the tires because he's 31. He's coming off an ACL. I do not believe he's going to get $23 million on June 1 when most rosters are getting set today. Do you think that there's some sort of potential 1-year deal? He comes in, gets in the offseason where there's more opportunities for teams to look at him. Could that be something John Schneider looks at?
Knowing John Schneider, he's going to take a look at it. He looks at everything. He doesn't let anything go by. Now, does he always make the decision to go that direction? No, but he's going to look at it and see how it fits into their program and see where his head is at as far as what he's looking for out of this thing. So there isn't as much money available by any team at this particular point in the salary cap for him to make that type of money. And I don't think he's that type of receiver anymore. He doesn't run like he used to. He's hurt a lot. He doesn't practice a lot, but he can definitely help your football team. And Seattle's pretty strong at the receiver spot with the guys that they have right now. Tyler Lockett and so on. And then they drafted Jackson Smith Enigma. from Ohio State with their first round pick, and he's going to be a huge addition as their third receiver in the slot. So they're pretty good at that position, but you bring in a guy like Hopkins, no question makes your receiving core that much stronger.
Let me throw this at you here. Obviously, in case some of you don't know, the legendary Warren Moon, he's on the broadcast team for the Seahawks. The Eagles signed Rashad Penny. I watched Penny at San Diego State, and obviously the things he did there was the reason that the Seahawks traded up even to get him in the first round. He's only had 11 starts in 5 years, and with the Walker emergence, the kid they drafted in the second round from Michigan State, they were able to move off him. Just give me like a small synopsis of what you think of him. To me, Warren, I think he failed in Seattle because he could never get the starting job away from Chris. He was always in the tub, and his availability is part of the evaluation. You got to be durable too, especially at that position. That's how I saw it. Am I wrong?
No, if you're not available to play on Sundays, your chances of making it in the NFL are going to be tough because there's another guy that's just as hungry and maybe just as talented waiting in the wings to take your position. There's no question he doesn't. I mean, he has the ability. We saw it from time to time. He'd have 2 or 3 games there where you're going, wow, this guy Penny can really, really run the football. And then all of a sudden he's hurt again and he misses 3 or 4 games. So that's been the big disappointment of him over the course of his career, is inconsistency to be there each and every week. And when you're the bell cow running back, they want to be able to count on you every week like they did with Marshawn Lynch and other running backs they've had in the past, Kurt Warner or whatever it might be. So they've got a kid now in Kenneth Walker who is that bell cow type of running back, and he showed last year that he could take the punishment, that he could come and perform week in and week out, and they think now starting the season off as the number 1 guy, he's going to be that type of running back for them for a long time.
Couple last questions for you, Warren. Warren, it looks like to me that Pete's got a system, and they kind of veered off it a little bit when, to me, it looks like the Seahawks, they were riding on the back of Wilson a lot, but when Lynch left that offense, they were never the same because of the style that Pete wants. Pete wants to win first down. He wants to be third and short. He wants to bring pressure on the other side of the ball. He wants to have good corners, and he wants to have tone-setting safeties. It looks kind of like that formula is being put back into place again. Are we going back to when Pete first initially took over in Seattle, back to that formula?
Yeah, I think he's getting back to what he's had success with, and he's got really good corners, nice, long, tall corners that he likes that can really run. Like you said, impactful safeties. But I think the key on the offensive side of the ball is they want to be more balanced. And they got away from that with Russell because everybody wanted, to see Russell cook, so to speak. And they started getting away from the running game. And Pete wants to slow the game down. He wants to shorten the game by running the football as much as he can, eating up time on the clock, but also being able to score with big plays down the field. And that's what they got back to on offense last year. I think they'll even do more of that this year to go along with an improved defense. And I like the Seahawks team to maybe win this division. It's going to be tough because San Francisco is loaded, but their quarterback position is a big question right now with the injury to their starter. And we don't know which one of those backups, Trey Lance or whoever is going to be the next guy. So the Seahawks, I think, are right there as being the team that could be there to win that division if things don't go well in San Francisco with the quarterback.
2 last questions here. I want to sneak one more into you. I think this shows the organization, Seattle, on how they look at professional football players and how maybe there's bad blood and all of a sudden what's better for the team. The way that they handled that Bobby Wagner stuff, he left not very happy, comes back extremely happy. I think that shows you the communication skill set that's in that front office that resonates down into that locker room. Is that a fair observation?
It is. They've always had great respect for Bobby Wagner, but here I think is the problem is it's almost like the Lamar Jackson situation. When a player represents himself and he has to talk to the organization about the strengths and the weaknesses of who you are. You're talking directly to that player now. You're not talking to an agent or somebody like that who might be able to buffer what is being said by the organization to the player. Those feelings can become bad between the player and the organization directly like that. And I think that had a lot to do with why those negotiations went the way they did last year, because Bobby was representing himself. But I think they were able over time to heal those wounds. And now Bobby's back in the organization because it's an organization that he didn't want to leave, and it's an organization that didn't want to lose him either. They just couldn't come together on the number amount, but there was also probably some bad blood because of some things said during that time.
Warren, last question. Dual threat quarterbacks. I had Bruce Arians on the show last week, and he said they're here to stay. He said the way these kids are coming out of college now. And I said, this is why you're not seeing the old school North Turners any longer or the Ernie Zampese guys any longer. Because today, would you agree, Warren, a guy that and by the way, I never considered you dual threat. You were a pocket passer and you were a pocket passer. I mean, you threw the ball around the yard. I mean, you were that guy. You could run, but that's not something that you did it out of necessity to get to the sticks. But these new young coordinators, to me, it looks like the Kevin Stefanskis, the Shane Steichens, and all these young guys, they customize these RPOs now to the skill set of the player. Whereas before, Warren, you know, if a coach had a system and he had a system and you couldn't implement that system, most of those quarterbacks got eaten up if you couldn't read, understand, and they wouldn't go with the skill set. Do you think that that's been evolving now to where those old coordinators, it's not a game plan. You're building game plans around the talent that you draft instead of trying to put that talent and trying to play plug and play. Is that where we are today?
Yeah, we really are. I think coaches have finally got smart enough to try and say, I'm not going to take a square peg and try and put it in a round hole. Don't make a quarterback do something that he's not capable of doing. Now they're going back to what these kids are doing as far back as middle school, high school, into college, and now they're bringing it into pro football. The RPO offense, that's what these kids are doing. They're spreading it out. They're throwing the ball all over the yard, and that's what these coaches are asking them to do. So they're going to make them do the things that they had success with in high school and college and bring it into the pro game, which I think is very smart. And then you're going to have more success early in their careers because the learning curve isn't as wide, and they can come in and really hit the ground running because they're doing a lot of the things that they've been doing since they were in grade school. So I think it's very smart what the NFL is finally doing, getting away from as much of this West Coast offense and different things that's so hard for a lot of these young quarterbacks to learn. And by the time they learn it, they're probably beat up or have been losing so many games. Now it's time to move on to the next guy. Now they're having success early because they're doing things they're used to.
We got a lot of friends in Houston and we got a lot of friends in Seattle. I'm sure you have some events going on. I know your golf tournament probably is coming up soon this summer. I know you do that. I think if I'm not mistaken, that's in the Houston area. The Crescent Moon Foundation. Could you just give the folks an opportunity just to tell them what you're doing?
Yeah, I have my Brothers in Arms Foundation that Vince Young, myself, and Andre Ware started, and we had our golf tournament in Houston. You were right there, but we already had it in April. A very successful event. We raised scholarships for kids that come from single mom homes like we all did. They're involved in sports. They have good grades, but just need the financial assistance. So that's something we continue to keep working on. I just gave out one of those scholarships at my high school in Hamilton High School in Los Angeles to a young lady who was involved in sports. She was a captain of 3 different teams, her cross-country team, her volleyball team, and her basketball team. Just a very well-rounded young lady. So I was really proud to give her out a scholarship this year to go to college. So that's going to continue, throughout the year. In the summer, we don't do as much because it is summertime, but everything will get back rolling again in the fall, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. I tell you what, Warren, that picture you sent, I think a year ago, that mural that you had, man, what a night! Warren, isn't that cool? When
really
people
is.
remember, and for you and your journey and all that stuff with the Yellow Brick Road to Success, I mean, That's got to be so awesome for you to see how people look at you today and how much they revere you. I don't think it's because you throw touchdowns. I think it's because of who you are and what you do in those communities and what you meant to a lot of people. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, it's quite an honor, to Danny, to be remembered and to be respected. And that mural went up on the side of the gym at my high school. So every time those athletes come in to get ready to perform or whatever they're doing, they get a chance, to see my face and see the things that I've accomplished, and hopefully maybe be an inspiration that one day they'll raise to that level in whatever sport they're in. So I love the fact that happened. It was a great honor for me, and it was a great day when we had the unveiling of the mural, because I had so many of my teammates come back. I had so many of my classmates come back. It was almost like a class reunion that day when we had the unveiling.
Did you and Don James ever beat USC when you were at Washington?
Oh yeah, a couple of times.
Oh man, hey, Warren, that must have been a little bit. That had to be two of your biggest wins.
That was big because a lot of my best friends were on those teams, like Ronnie Lott and Marcus Allen, all those guys that I tried to help recruit to the University of Washington and didn't come. I got a chance to beat some of those guys. Dennis Thurman was somebody we went to high school at the same time. So yeah, it's always great to beat a UCLA or a USC if you're away from Los Angeles.
Absolutely. I love Don James. He's a Miami Hurricane, and he's a legendary Cane. Warren, it is awesome. Always catching up. You always find time for me, my friend, and God bless you and all the things in your journey that you do. Thank you so much, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me on, Danny. Look forward to the next time we can get together.
You bet. That is the legendary Hall of Famer and Hall of Fame person, Warren Moon. Absolutely love the man. And if you are looking for anything to look at the Crescent Moon stuff, you'll love it. Okay. He does a lot of work there, and he does a great job on the broadcast team too. All right. Hit the like button here. We're going to continue here. And I want to say this to you about Brock Purdy. By the way, top of the hour, Big Sil's scouting report of the 2023 Eagles. I think you're going to enjoy it. I did this last night. So that'll be at the top of the hour. So I see what I love about this show, we got a lot of 49er fans in here. So did you hear John Lynch today at OTAs? Brock Purdy is the leader in the clubhouse. Oh my God. Oh my God. What a devastating comment for Trey No Play Lance. You drafted that guy that high, gave all those first rounders up for the last player in the draft to beat. It's not just the last player in the draft. You took a turd. I don't even know if Brock Purdy's going to be a good player. Trey No Play Lance. Dude, the general manager of the team is now going public, which means this. He is now lessening the value of Lance by saying that Mr. Irrelevant is more relevant in San Francisco than the third pick in the draft? Holy shit, is that a failure? Get some new content. I did. I listened to your GM today. With conviction. Brock Purdy's the guy. I hadn't heard John Lynch say that. So here's your new content. Niner all day. Trey No Chance Lance. We got to come up with some new nicknames for this guy. Holy cow. Man, oh man. No Play Trey. Mr. Stiff. No, you know what his name is? Trey Drunken Miller Lance. Last Dance. Last Dance Lance. Oh my God. Is that funny? Trey Last Dance Lance. Let's get some new material for Niner guy. Your GM says your guy you picked third overall. How many? Hey, by the way, someone educate me. How many ones did they give up to get Trey Last Dance? Last Dance Lance. Oh, man. Hey, man, you know what, man? I don't want to hurt Niner guy feelings. Feelings is bad, man. I don't want this guy to, like, cry it all day because I already have Kyle Shanahan moaning and crying. You gave up 3 ones to get to the 3-hole for Last Dance Lance? Oh, man. Woo! No play Trey. Damn, dog. Shit. Geno Carmazzi. Jim Drunkenmiller. Trey Lance. Who's better? Trey Lance, Jim Drunkenmiller, or Geno Carmazzi? Who would you take? Hey, Niner, help us out here. Who would you take out of those 3 stiffs? Jim Drunkenmiller, Geno Carmazzi, or would you take Trey Lance? Which guy? They didn't give up 3 ones for me. They only gave up the 56th pick for me. They gave up 3 ones to get into the 3-hole to take a stiff. Shit, you would have done better with Mac Jones. Oh, man. Hating on Trey? I'm not hating on him. Your GM is. Holy shit. Dude, don't get mad at me. Get mad at your GM. Your GM called him a stiff today. Yeah. Mr. Irrelevant's got the lead in the clubhouse. What? It's not even get this. Last Dance Lance is so bad at OTAs, you're not hitting anybody. He's so bad right now. And Purdy's hurt. That the GM came out and said, yeah, no, it's Purdy's gig. That's how much he must suck right now. Hey, how would you like to do this? So your last chance, Lance, and you're at OTAs right now. The guy who the GM is saying has the lead in the clubhouse is not even practicing. You're practicing with the greatness of Sam Darnold, and you're not in full gear. You're in helmets and shorts, basically running around in your underwear. And the Niners go, nah, he sucks. Oh, hey, how about this, Niner? I'll play more games in the NFL than Last Chance Lance. I'll play more than Last Chance Lance. Holy shit. Dude, this guy's a bigger bust than Ryan Leaf. Here. Trey Ryan Leaf. No, that's Ryan Leaf played a little bit. Holy shit, man. Is this guy a turd? Geno Carm. Here, Jim Drunkenmiller. I'm taking Jim Drunkenmiller over Last Chance Lance. Shit. Man. Your general manager thought he would kill the value of a player who they drafted in the first round. Shit, you couldn't get a 6th rounder for that guy now. and you gave up 3 ones for no play Lance. 1 play Trey. Wait a minute. 1 play Trey. Oh, holy cow. But he's a triple threat. What an athlete. Yeah. Holy shit, man. This guy's some athlete, man. He's as good an athlete as Carl Lewis. Okay. Hey, he's a great athlete. Holy cow. This guy goes into the Hall of Quarterback Stiffs. Dude, Brandon Weeden was better. Josh Rosen was better. Wow. The guy in the clubhouse who's hurt can't play, won't play for the first 2 weeks of the regular season. He's our guy. What about the guy you gave up 3 ones for? Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't move him. We tried to move him to the Birmingham Stallions. The Birmingham Stallions of the USFL went, nah, we're good. Holy cow. Jeff Garcia's better. Holy cow. Congratulations. You're now in the land of continuing motion of stiff quarterbacks. Hey, that's some evaluation, Niner guy. Okay? Holy Jesus criminy. 3 ones for that? Dude, you know what I would do? I would play him until that guy blew his knee out. At least get something out of him. You know what I would I would put him on the kickoff team. Hey, you can't move him. I'm not going to move a guy who gave 3 ones up for a 7th rounder. So I'm going to put him on the kickoff team. Here's my new Tyson Hill. Dude, Tyson Hill's better. Tyson Hill's better than Last Chance Lance. Good night, Irene. Holy shit. Shinola. Man. How about new material? Okay. Your GM said today your guys sucked. End of story. Hour 2. We will do our scouting report. We do this every offseason on June 1, getting you ready for the upcoming season. Things I'd like to see all these players get better at, and things that they do great now. The 22 starters on the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to do that next. Hit the like button, hour 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.